of the Lord. We bask in your glory today. We ask now to God to speak to us and speak through us. Use us this hour as an instrument of your will. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. And the church said amen. Amen. What a joy it is just to be here today, share in this moment. I want to continue talking about praising God for men. Today I want to focus our thoughts, if you will, on the idea of praying. Pray for our boys. Pray for our boys. I'd ask that you take notice of the fact that the ushers gave you a blue sheet along with the bulletin. This prayer was going around a few months ago, and I saw it on Facebook. And I adapted, I changed just a couple of words, I think. And there's some typing errors in it, blame it on me. But you get the point. Good prayer, I think, is pray for our boys. Pray for our, I think that says pray for my son. I think it was, won't ask you to read that now, but we'll ask you to take it home with you if you haven't already read it. Again, I think it's a good place to start. We pray for our boys. Pray for our sons. I want to try to spend a little time today pushing that thought, if you will. I'd ask that you look again with me at 2 Timothy chapter number 1. You saw, Reverend Bernard read that for us earlier. I'd ask that you just take another look. In particular, I ask that you look at, I'll give it just a second. Start looking at verse 5. When I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is found in thee, which up first thy grandmother Lois and thy mother Eunice, I am persuaded in thee also. Wherefore I put you in remembrance that you stir up the gift of God, which is in thee by the putting on of my hands. I want to ask you to think about the fact that our boys got something in them. And it's part of our job is to bring it out. Paul says, he tells Timothy, I pray for you daily. Night and day, he says, I pray for you. I wonder today if we can say that same thing about the men and the boys in our life. For whatever reason, our microphone, maybe they just don't want me to preach today, but I'm going to preach about to use this one here. So we got that one. That was one. That was good. Remember our boys. It's funny how, let's just use for a quick teaching point. It's funny how on some sermons, the mic works extremely well. And then on some like the enemy just want to say, look, you ain't going to get it out. But we're going to make it work. Amen? We're going to make it work. Amen. We're going to preach regardless. Amen. Remember our boys. In 1955, Emmett Till, 14 years old, boy, young, black, and that day they called him colored, a Negro, or something worse. Amen. Boy. Began in his life as a teenager. Cut down, only to find out just a couple of years ago, the lady who caused all the uproar finally said she was telling a lie. After all of these years gone by, she admitted to the fact that this young man was cut down in the prime of his life for no reason at all. I want to ask you today as we go through this to remember our boys. Then I want to ask you to encourage our boys to reach their potential. In verse 6, Paul says, I put you into remembrance of the fact that you got something inside of you. I wonder today, can I encourage somebody today to find some young boy this week and just look at that young boy and encourage that boy that he's got something in him. I had the privilege of going to one of our elementary schools this past week, and of course I couldn't touch everybody, but there's one boy with me. I just kind of, he gravitated toward me, I gravitated toward him, or whatever the case may be, and I just had to speak a word to him. Others, I might have missed, I missed some, but for that one, just want to speak a word to him on life and let that one know you got something in you, son. And oftentimes, listen, oftentimes the one that needs it is the one who often is making the noise. Some of you educators can attest to that. The one who really needs you to speak a word of life into them is the one that you really can't stand. Don't be afraid to admit. Don't be afraid to admit. I taught school too. There are some students that get on your last nerve, and they don't want to, and you just don't want to. And some parents, listen. You don't look at teachers funny because your child got on their nerves. They don't go running to the superintendent and tell her, she said this about my child. Yeah. Look, you said that about your child. You were so glad to send him out when catch the bus. And when the bus came home, you started, you know you did that. So why are you mad at the teacher? but encourage them to reach their potential. I put you to remembrance. Boy, you got something in you that's worth bringing out. Speak life to that boy. Tell him, boy, come on, son. Come on, you got something in you. You got something in you. That may be, I'm holding this point for a moment, because that may be the only time that boy has ever heard anybody say, you got potential. And so he's looking for you. Tell them they got potential. So encourage them. Encourage our boys to reach their potential. This 12-year-old boy, Jameer Rice, y'all remember him? Out in the park with a toy gun. Police pull up, and depending on what story you read, but certainly within less than 10 seconds upon arrival, this boy is dead. Cut down. And I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, we've got to tell them to reach their potential. If for no other reason, tell them, think about Jameer Rice, who's gone on now. And boy, you ought to reach your potential because God has allowed you to stay here and be. You ought to be somebody because other folk couldn't be. Encourage them to reach their potential. Perhaps the greatest gift we can give our boys is to pray for them. So Paul says in verse 3, I thank God whom I serve from my forefathers with a pure conscience, that without ceasing I have remembrance of you in prayers day and night. You ought to pray for your boy. Amen. You ought to pray for your boy. You say, well, I don't have one. Pray for somebody. Pray for your neighbor's boy. Amen. Pray for your neighbor's boy. Because look, the boy that breaks into your house may just be the boy God told you to pray for last year. And because you didn't pray for him, you didn't speak life into him, now he's knocking on your window, trying to see if he can get into your house. Look at somebody and tell them, pray for your boy. Good mention. You remember this young man? This young boy? Regardless of what story you hear about him, and watch this now, I want to just make this clear to you. Be careful that the folk who don't like him in the first place will make him a villain. And you begin to buy into the story, regardless of the fact of whatever he did prior to going and getting the Skittles. At the moment, from what I can see, he shouldn't have been shot. And listen, we have got to be able and willing to say to folk, it should not have happened like that. So we ought to pray for our boys. Look at somebody and tell them, pray for our boys. My brothers and my sisters, our boys are in danger of never becoming men. Exodus 1:16, beautiful story. You can go back and read it sometime. But Pharaoh had gotten worried about the number of Israelites. The number was increasing, the population was increasing. And he got worried that one day they would overcome them. And if they got too many of them, he got worried that they couldn't treat them like they would treat them. Y'all hold that point for just a minute. I'm going to take you down history lane for a moment. If you get enough of us and we stand together, you can't treat us like you've been treated us. That is why, listen, our forefathers had huge families. Look, y'all remember reading that some of you all came from families when there were 10, 15 children. Mama and Daddy wanted to have a lot of children. When the children got older, they could help them on the farm. And if they helped them on the farm, they wouldn't be treated the way they were treated. And how many know? If you got 5 good, strong, strapping boys standing behind you, they're going to think twice before they mistreat you. And so, listen. And Pharaoh was concerned about the number of Israelites that were being born. So he said, look. When you go to do the office of a midwife for the Hebrew children, and you see them up on the stool, and when the baby comes out, if it is a boy, look, I feel something right here. I'm going to get real controversial for a moment, okay? Y'all take what it's worth. Listen, and if it be a son, you shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, he shall live. And listen, all this talk, and I stand flat, firmly on this podium, this sacred desk today to tell you, I stand against abortion. I think abortion is wrong. I think it is a sin. But it is also a sin when we see the boy, born as a born, and that boy has no chance of becoming a man. Don't tell me about how you love life when you see folk being slaughtered in the street, and you say nothing about them being slaughtered in the street. Some of y'all don't like that. But I just want to tell you, before you jump on the bandwagon with everybody else, ask them, why don't you come on my bandwagon for a minute? That is why you won't see me joining hands with the folk who are protesting abortion on the street. I get a call about every year. I used to get a call about every year. They don't call me now. I figured I wasn't coming. When they line up down there, y'all know in front of Carter's funeral home. I used to get a call every year. I ain't coming. But when you come and when you're willing to come speak with me about the evils that's plaguing our society, the drug abuse that's taking out our children, police shootings that's taking out our children, unable to eat, poverty and hunger that's taking out our children, I'm with you. Then they'll say, well, that don't concern me. Our boys are in danger of never becoming men. Low literacy rate equals a high prison rate. When you find folk who are not concerned about the education of our boys, about getting our boys, listen, I'm don't mean no harm, but getting our boys out of special ed, and getting into quality ed, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Get them out from being labeled as not being able to produce to a place where they can produce. Because listen, here's the fact, y'all. Here's the fact. I don't mean no harm. But oftentimes, we get labeled before other folk get labeled. And once you get a label on you, it's hard to get it off. It's hard to get it off. Some folk need some special help. But be careful that that's not a way of further injuring our boys. Low literacy rate equals high prison rate. Let me make it real plain to you. If a boy is not reading well, he then will oftentimes act out. And when he acts out, he gets referred out. And when he gets referred out, he then stands in line to get referred into the criminal justice system. All because the bottom line was he did not know how to read. And so he was not going to let you find out he didn't know how to read. And so when it came his time, he acted up so that nobody else would know that he couldn't read. Low literacy rates equals high prison rates. Perhaps the greatest gift we can give our boys is to pray for them. Amen. So let me encourage on and get this done. We ought to pray our boys are successful. Joshua 1:8 says, the book of the law shall not depart out of their mouth, but I shall meditate therein day and night, that I may observe to do all that's written therein. For then thou shalt make the way prosperous, and thou shalt have good success. Just tell somebody to pray for our boys' success. Now listen, success is not the same for everyone. Amen. Would you agree? Amen. I saw something once, I read this thing that once said that if you told a fish to climb a tree and a monkey to swim, both of them would fail the test. Success is not the same for everyone. But what I can tell you is this. Success requires, first of all, attitude. Go back right there. Success requires attitude. And whatsoever you do in word or in deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father by him. And whatsoever you do, I believe this, that we can do all things through Christ. Everybody know we can do all things? We can do all things through Christ. If I've been writing that, and I wouldn't, praise God, I wouldn't, because I've messed some stuff up, y'all. But if I've been writing that, I would have said, we can do all things that he asked us to do through Christ. Because listen, everybody can't be a brain surgeon. Everybody can't be pulpit preacher. I'm preaching. A few years ago, we had some work done, had the plumber in there doing the work, and he asked me something, and I said, look, you're the plumber, I'm preaching. I ain't gonna tell you how to do plumbing. Don't you tell me how to preach. But I'm gonna respect the fact you know what plumbing is. Listen, there are some folk who can only do the plumbing. Success is doing what God called you to do. Pray for our boys' success. Success revolves around attitude. You got to have the right attitude saying, whatever it is I'm doing, I'm going to do. Dr. King said like this, if you're going to be a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper. All I'm saying to you is, pray for our boys that they'll be successful in the thing God has called them to be. Don't lay up on them this heavy charge of being somebody that God didn't call them to be. Man, my time is coming. It's running fast. Can I just teach this one point? In America, because of our history, because when I was in school, I had teachers who told me, you can't go to college. And so as a result of that, we began to tell everybody, black folk, you will go to college. Now, that's a good thing. Because they're sitting, their children, we want our children to go to college. But how many know we sometimes do our child a disservice by pushing them into something that they were not cut out to be? And they caught on to that. So they became the plumbers, the electricians, making $100,000+ a year. So sometimes your son might just be the best bricklayer around. He might have learned to be the best bricklayer around. That means not successful. Success requires attitude. Secondly, success requires aptitude. I talked about it a little bit. Aptitude is a natural ability to do something. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things that Christ calls me to do. You may not have the aptitude to do some of the stuff. Now, I know that rubs somebody the wrong way. You can talk to me about it later. I just believe that everybody's not going to be the brain surgeon. Somebody, if everybody was a brain surgeon, you'd have nobody doing the manual labor. And can I just be real with you for a minute? Part of the problem in our community is we have lost the skilled labor in our community. Amen. There was a time when you could, if you wanted your electrical stuff fixed, you sent word to get Mr. Bill to come by the house to see about our electric stuff. Mr. Bill came, he fixed it, said, what I owe you? Y'all paid him something, mama paid him something, he went on by the ship. Now you got something wrong with your electrical stuff, you got to call Mr. somebody else who comes in and the money don't come back to our community. Y'all ain't saying nothing. I'm trying to get there, y'all. Okay. Go to the next one. Pray for our boys' safety. Success requires gratitude. Let's go to the next one. You got to be thankful for what we got. Pray for our boys' safety. This is a tough and often unsafe world for our boys. Would you agree? Amen. A tough, unsafe world for our boys. Tell somebody to pray for our boys' safety. Jude 1 says, now unto him who's able to keep you from falling and present you faultless before his presence is Lord exceeding joy. I know God's able. Anybody know he's able? Yes. He's able. Pray for our boys' safety. Pray they're safe. Pray they are delivered. I got to run. Pray for our boys' deliverance. In 1 Samuel 17:37, David says, the Lord has delivered me out of the paw of the lion, the paw of the bear, and he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. Man, I feel like preaching right about here. Let me tell you something. I want you to stand firm on the fact that the God that delivered us through slavery, the same God that delivered us through Jim Crow, the same God that delivered us through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. I stopped by today to tell you that same God will stop by and see about your boy in 2019. I just want to tell somebody, we got to pray that God will deliver our boys from all of the stuff that's going on around us. I know I'm right about it. We got to pray the same prayer our forefathers prayed for us. We got to pray for our boys today. One of the reasons why are the men, if you will be honest with yourself today, the reason you're sitting here today is because somebody prayed for you. Somebody looked and prayed for you to cause you to be here. Don't you? Can you just imagine those old mothers praying, Lord, my boy's going down to the store. Lord, would you please let him just get back without running into any trouble? They prayed that same prayer. And I'm asking you to pray that prayer for our boys today. They're just going down to the store. But pray for them that they'll make it back home safely. The same God, David said, that delivered me from the lion and from the bear, that same God will deliver us today. I'm talking to somebody this morning. Pray for your boy. Don't you dare let him go down to the store without saying, Lord, bless him that he come back. If we pattern ourselves off after our history, after the way they did back then, we'd be better off. And then listen, let the boys know you prayed for them. Somebody talking and saying, put some truth to it too, that boy, I send my boy out to school, his face is shining with oil all over his face. I done poured oil all over him before the Lord. I've been praying for him. Lay hands on him. Because I know if he gets back today, it was by the grace of God. I'm trying to tell somebody you ought to pray for your boy. Just tell them pray for your boy. Pray for your boy's steadfastness. Let us not be weary in well doing. For in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Isaiah 40 says, they that wait upon the Lord, he shall renew their strength. Can I tell you, pray for our boys' steadfastness. Pray they stand firm in what they're doing. Go to the next one. Pray for our boys' stability. Pray for our boys' stability. Deuteronomy 28 is a long text, and I won't dare read it all. But listen, if we do the words that the Lord has commanded us, and go not to the right or to the left, God has promised that he will hold us and keep us secure. My brothers and my sisters, may I tell you, our boys are being pulled away from our most holy faith. Being pulled away. There are many bright lights out there, boy. There are many bright lights out there. There are many things out there. And I want to ask you to pray for our boys' stability. Pray they'll be stable. Go to the next one. Pray that our boys are delivered from the jailhouse lawyers and the barbershop philosophers. I want you to pray that prayer. Listen, guys. We send our boys down to the barbershop, and they sit in the barbershop, and they hear some ungodly kinds of things. Now, I ain't talking about just profane talk. I'm talking about philosophy. I was sitting in a barbershop, and I dare not call the name. I don't go to the barbershop. I don't go to them anymore. Thank you, Ms. Tasha. I don't go to the barbershop. Thank you, Ms. Tasha takes care. But listen, I was sitting in the barbershop one day, and them fellows got to talking about some stuff that was so far off. Man, they had philosophy and intelligently talking about it. Now, if I had my little son with me, he would seem to think that's true stuff they're saying. And they'll lead you away from Christ. And you wonder why the boys are not in church? Because y'all sitting down to the barbershop by themselves and they hear that noise from the barbershop folks. And then they mess around and get locked up and they go to jail. And they sit in jail all day long with folk who won't talk to them about the white man's religion or some far off philosophy. And you are missing an opportunity to touch your boys. Don't take it lightly that our boys are being pulled away by the bright lights. I'm trying to finish. Pray for our boys. That we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro, carried about by every wind of doctrine, by the sight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lay in wait to deceive you. I want to ask somebody today, would you pray for our boys? Would you pray for our boys? That they have stability. That we don't get pulled away by the stuff. And let me just throw this in parenthetically. Not a part of my notes, but let me throw this in. You got to pray for your boys. Hear what they're saying when they come home from school. Our teachers in school are not all Christian. Matter of fact, we can't hire. That parent can't put that stipulation out in the interview for you. What church you go to? What's your religious background? Can't do that. And so as a result, we hire folk in our school system. Not a bad thing. This is America. We got to do that. So you need to know what your child is getting from school. Your child come home talking, you say, boy, where you get that from? We pray, our Father who art in heaven. Now, if you pray somebody else, you don't know where you got it from. Because the bright lights are pulling them away. Pray for our children's stability. Our boys need a strong foundation. We need a strong foundation. Therefore, whosoever hears these sayings of mine shall be like the wise man who built his house on a rock. I want you to pray our boys have a solid foundation. Go on. Go on. Go to the next one. Fathers, you have a responsibility. Parents, you have a responsibility. Not to provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Can I tell you this? I think one of the things on the blue sheet says, I can't control them at this age. There's some things I can't control. But while you can control, you need to make sure your child's in school, in church. While you can control, make sure your boy gets to know the pastor. While you can control it. You need to make sure, now this is not, look, you need to make sure that you introduce your boy to your pastor. You know why this is so important? Because see, don't wait until I have to go down to the street and see him through the glass to talk to him. That's too late. Introduce him, let him know who I am. Then not only that, here's something else I want to tell you. Introduce your boy to one of these deacons sitting over here. Introduce your boy to one of these deacons. And look, even if they might be in a hurry, say, come inside, I want you to talk. Hey, I want you to talk to them. Your daughters too. Amen, baby. You need to get to know who your pastor is, who your deacon is. Don't provoke them to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. I'm done when I tell you this. Your boy needs Jesus. Anybody know your boy needs Jesus? Your boy needs Jesus. Neither their salvation in any other name. For there's no other name given whereby we might be saved. In the name of Jesus, every knee's going to bow. Every tongue's going to confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Can I tell you, I want you to pray for your boy. I want you to pray that he get to know Jesus. The same Jesus who hung, bled, and died on Calvary's cross. The same Jesus who was buried in a borrowed tomb. They need to know the Jesus who on that third day morning got up with all power in his hand. They need to know Jesus. Our boys need to know Jesus. Would you join me this morning in praying for our boys? As you stand your feet all over the building, would you join me today? Before I extend an invitation, I want you, if you would, to think of a boy. Think of a boy. Think of a boy under the age of 19. Think of a boy. And I want you to pray for that boy right now. Pray for that boy right now. Pray for that boy right now. Call that boy's name out to the Lord. And even if you don't know his name, maybe it's a neighborhood boy and you don't know his name, but pray for that boy. Tell the Lord where you saw him at last. However you know that boy, identify that boy to the Lord. Pray for that boy. Pray for that boy now. Pray for that boy. Pray for his safety. Pray for his security. Pray for his stability. Pray for his salvation. Pray for his salvation. If you're here today and don't know Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, we invite you to come. If you're here today and you need a church home, would you come? If you're here today and God's speaking to your heart today, would you come?